Here's why constantly texting in the early stages of dating is actually super detrimental to your dating life. I wasn't fucking born yesterday. I understand the appeal and the sexiness and the fun that comes with texting. I have lived my entire adult life in major cities, and cell phones have existed on the entirety of it. And I was that girl that was constantly always saying, oh, well, if they don't text me, then they don't like me. And I just equated with texting equals this person likes me. And I focused on that for fucking years. I would go out in the dating world, and if a guy didn't text me for 24 hours, I would write him off. That would be the end of it. I'm a heterosexual woman, so I'm going to be speaking in those pronouns, but this goes for they, this goes for anybody. And here's what's actually happening when you engage in this nonstop texting behavior. If you were somebody like me who had high anxious attachment style, I was always worried that someone was going to leave me, someone was going to abandon me, they're not going to be there. So the texting for me was safety. That was that little dopamine that I needed, because we have to remember what's going on in your brain. So when you meet somebody or you first start talking to somebody, your cortisol is going to be rising. So there's a bit of stress that's happening. And so what happens is then the dopamine and your neurotransmitters like norepinephrine, oxytocin, those all start to go down, specifically the dopamine. And when you're engaging in this nonstop texting, what happens is your dopamine gets released in the anticipation. So it's that reward drug. So when you're waiting for the text, when you're waiting for them to call, when you're waiting for something, you're always having that little slow drip, that hit. And then serotonin gets released when you do hear from them. And the problem is that you are literally turning your brain into a little drug dealer, because now you are waiting for this person's text. You are waiting for them to call. You are waiting for some kind of digital interaction with them, which isn't real fucking life. Because the reality is, you're creating a false sense of intimacy. You might think you know this person so well, but we text every day for 3 months. That doesn't mean anything. That is a controlled environment. That means you didn't get to see this person. How do they react when someone cuts them off? What happens when they get triggered? Are they rude to people out in public? Like, are they nice to the wait staff? How does this person handle conflict and resolution? All you're seeing is, well, but they text me, but this person texts me, but they text me every single day. But then it's like, well, how else are they showing up? Is this person asking you on dates? Are they being consistent? Are they being reciprocal? Do you feel safe and comfortable to have a conversation with this person? Express yourself, see how they're feeling, see where you are. Are you guys able to have conversations like that? And so often when it comes to the texting, we start to muddy the waters. Well, they didn't text me today. And then all of a sudden the anxiety starts to ensue. And then the hypervigilance starts to come in where you're scanning. Well, I knew it. Well, so they text me without a period, and that was 25 minutes ago. And then they spent another 30 minutes. And all of a sudden you start to become the fucking FBI trying to understand this person's behavior instead of looking at it in a bigger picture. Because the reality is you're chasing a feeling. If you're constantly waiting for that next hit, or if you're judging people and the quality and the depth of the relationships based on their texting behavior, that's not real fucking life. Is that going to be what pays the bills for you? Is that the person that's going to be by your side when shit hits the fan, when you really need them? Are they the one that's going to come there so they can text you? What else are they doing? How else are they showing up for you? And we need to get rid of focusing so heavily on text equals safety, because you're safe because you have you, not because these random fucking people that you meet on the internet or these first or second dates that you have that you swipe on are quote unquote choosing you. So when it comes to dating, if you really want to have success in your dating life, use texting as a means to make quick plans, have a touch base every couple of days. Hey, just wanted to let you know I'm thinking of you and I hope you're having a great day. Super excited to see you on Friday. It's great. Show your interest. It's okay. Male, female. I don't care who the fuck you are. Reciprocity is really sexy. And if all we're doing is this person doesn't text me every day when I don't even know who they are, I don't have them as part of my day-to-day, because then if they become part of your day-to-day, then what's going to happen if you don't have them? You're going to go through withdrawals, because remember, your brain has a little drug dealer in there. So when we hyper-focus on low-effort components like texting, you're overlooking so many other red flags. Now, I know you're going to say, but what else? It's like, again, I'm not saying that someone should never text you and you only see each other once a week, but then you don't speak in the interim. That doesn't even make any sense. That's not even building a connection. What I am saying is, if you have a first date with somebody, no, you don't need a good morning fucking text the next day. You literally don't know who this person is. People can schedule a text. I know. That gets people a lot of the times. You can schedule a text. You can schedule that. You can pre-plan it. I have heard stories of women that were laying next to a guy that texts their girlfriends good morning that the girl didn't know about while laying next to another woman. The texting Do you not think that people know what it is that what you're seeking? And when they can mask all of their low effort bullshit simply by texting you, and that's all that's going to keep you on the hook, then we have to start understanding and looking at like, what is the depth of the relationship that you genuinely want to have? Listen, I love texting like any other human being on the planet. It's nice to have that connection. It's nice to see your partner's name pop up on your phone. It's nice to have that moment, the dopamine, that little rush. But if that's all that you're focusing the relationship on, if that's the only aspect that you're focusing on with this person, that's what I mean by you're cutting people off. I have dated many types of people. I have had plenty of guys that have no problem texting you every single day and have zero desire in a relationship with you. And I've had vice versa. Guys that are not big texters, they might call or FaceTime, but they're the ones that maybe put depth in. Are there also people that won't text and also don't want to be with you? Absolutely. But that's going to show up in other behavior. That's not just going to show up in texting. That's going to show up in, again, how are they interacting with you in person? Are you able to have conversations of depth? Is this person asking you out consistently? Are you going out? Are there plans being made? Do you have conversations of the future? So more often than not, all of those are also usually being omitted. And then the texting is the easiest low-hanging effort and fruit to be able to say, oh, well, but I know something's off. And the reality is too, like, it's not fucking sustainable. It is not sustainable. And it gets real boring real quick when every single day is some bullshit text of like, hey, how are you? How's your day? Hey, what's up? It's like, you know what? After a while, I kind of just want to get my shit done and I'll talk to you later. And I'm running a business. I'm sorry. I don't really have the bandwidth for that. Or I'm at work, or I'm with my kids, or I'm with my family, or you're with your friends. Like, it doesn't matter. Wherever you are, not every person's going to connect via text. And so I really just want to broaden some horizons here of different perspective shifts. My partner now wasn't a big texter. We are the cliche relationship. We met on a dating, like, I never thought this was going to work. We met on a dating app. We hooked up on the first date and I left saying, I'm never going to see this guy again. And the next day he did text me just saying like, I have a smile from ear to ear, like still thinking of you. And I was like, okay. And that was also because the night before I was like, hey, so I don't normally like, sleep with somebody on the first date. Like, it happens here and there, but like, yowza, mama had some needs and she acted them out. And I was like, so hopefully I hear from you. And I was like, and if not, that's totally cool too. Like, you do you. And I was like, I don't have expectations. Like, when I left a first date, I don't expect that person's going to now need to do something. I'm an adult. I have done that before where I've maybe been intimate with somebody on the first date, leaving saying, this is not my person. I don't really want to hang out with them again. But like, that was fun because I'm a human. And like, I'm not going to even get into like shaming or blaming ourselves for just acting on things. But nonetheless, when he texted me the next day, I remember trying to have a conversation with him. He wasn't having it. And then I didn't hear from him for a couple of days, but we always had plans made and he would call me instead. But I remember telling my family, like, I don't know, he's not a big texter. He's just like not that big on it. And then I had to remember the guy right before him had no problem texting me morning, noon, and night, but was wildly avoidant and didn't want to have any conversations of depth. So instead, I looked at this saying, let me try something different. Right? It may not work. It may work, but let me at the very least, it hasn't worked in the past if I've always focused on texting every day. And so 3 weeks into dating my partner, I said, listen, I'd love more texting in between our dates just to feel a little more connected to you. And he set a beautiful boundary. He said, listen, this is not a sign of my disinterest. I'm actually really into you and I'd love to continue to get to know you in person, but I don't connect via phone. I work in tech. He's like, I have 3 computers I stare at every day. The last thing I want to do is stare at a mini computer in my hand when I'm trying to enjoy my dog and my day right after that. So he was like, I would love to continue to get to know you. And like, of course, text sporadically. But if that's the kind of relationship that you're looking for, I'm going to be honest and just share. It's not something I'm interested in. And I was just like, ooh, it was really hot to me that somebody set such a very clear boundary. And like, yeah, do we text every day now? Well, we fucking live together. So like, of course, yes, we were going to have more communication. Of course, as we started to date more seriously, but we didn't text every day until like month 4. Because the reality was I did not want to become obsessed or hyper-focused on somebody else. I wanted to build my own life and enjoy the moments I was with this person, but then leave knowing that's okay. I am not insecure in the moment. I don't think that this person's going to leave me. I don't think this person's going to abandon me because I know who the fuck I am. And if they do, I know that I'll be okay no matter what. This isn't my mom or dad. This is just some person I met on the internet. And if it works out, great. And allowed it to grow into something. Now, again, is that a guarantee? No. But at the very least, we could try, right? Because I had asked him, how many women did you say that to? And he told me many. And he was like, some people lost their shit on me. I had to block them after saying how rude and disrespectful I was, that they're quality women and that they want texting every day because that's low effort. And it's like, know what comes from them. That's anxiety. And that's okay. Like, I'm not judging them, but that's what that is. That's a fear. That's driven by fear. Because then what I get is it takes 10 seconds. It's only one text. Really? What's that? Hey, hope you have a good day text doing for you? Besides letting you know that this person's thinking of you. Okay. But so where did we get the facts that just because they don't text you doesn't mean that they're maybe not thinking of you? Just because they don't text you doesn't always 100% mean that this person doesn't like you. I'm sorry. And like, listen, I understand that if you text somebody, yeah, it would be nice for somebody to get back to you in a timely manner. But again, it's just not owed. So just because you text somebody at 2 p.m. doesn't mean that they have to get back to you at 2:01. It means that they'll get back to you when they get to their phone and they have the bandwidth to have the conversation. That's just being an adult and understanding that, like, I don't always expect that. When I say jump, they say how high. Like, would it be nice in a few hours? Absolutely. I hope within 3 to 4 hours that person responds. If somebody is intentionally putting 15 hours in between every message to you, that's a very different experience than, hey, I'm so sorry, I was swamped at work. Like, no, I did not want to get into a back and forth with you. Not when I have to then my phone every 2 seconds. And I know, trust me, I used to be that girl. That was all about that, but it takes 2 seconds and why aren't they texting me? But it requires bandwidth. Because then I get the messages in my inbox and in my fucking emails of, but I understand they only text me once. Do they even like me? Because it's just not about that. It has to do with how we are entering into the dating world. And this is why I think texting can be so detrimental, because if we're focused on something that is so low effort, that is so deep rooted in an anxiety, there have been people, our parents met without cell phones. Like, let's be realistic. Plenty of people have been able to do this without texting. But now our nervous system is unable to respond to this new generation because our nervous system wasn't designed for any of this. Our nervous system's trying to keep you safe. It's not designed to help you grow. It's not trying to say, oh, well, you know what? Sabrina's now this age and she's got credit cards and she's an adult now. It can't differentiate. All it knows is Sabrina's feeling this. She's felt this before. Let's keep her safe. That's it. And so understanding how our brain works, and then when we don't get that dopamine, when that starts to go down and our receptors are starting to see, oh my God, but I'm not safe. Oh my goodness, but that means that's that. I need it. So when you're on that addiction loop, it's time to just remove ourselves and ask, how has the depth of your relationships been that involve a lot of texting? Just think on them. Just give me 2 seconds for you to think back, because I can tell you personally, they never really build that well. They started off really hot and then they would fizzle. Or they started off and then I'd get I'm not ready for a relationship, because a lot of people are chasing a feeling. It makes them feel good in the moment. That doesn't mean that they want a long-term relationship with you. That doesn't mean they have the bandwidth for it. And that's why I'm saying cut the texting bullshit and focus on how this person shows up for you. Look at it more holistically and overall before you cut somebody off simply because for a day they didn't fucking text you and you had one date with them. You don't know these people. I get it. I know. I was an anxious girl myself. I understand. I know how hard dating can be. Let's not get on this thing. I get it. I see you. I hear you, and I understand you. But that doesn't mean that we can't implement new behavior now to have different experiences. That's all I'm saying. Try a different perspective. If it doesn't work for you, that's cool. You don't have to adopt it. But we can at the very least try, because nothing changes if nothing changes. So guys, don't forget to please follow along the YouTube, support, leave comments. Let's be nice to each other if we're going to fucking comment on here. We don't need anybody to be rude or any trolls. And don't forget to follow along and listen to Do the Work podcast wherever you find your podcasts. And I'm excited to keep doing more of these YouTube videos because I hope that they help you guys.